future you can be proud of. One deliberate decision of discipline begins the moment you decide to take responsibility for your own life. It is not something reserved for a special group of people, nor is it a gift given at birth. Discipline is built through choice quiet, repeated choices that shape your character. When you understand this, you stop waiting for the right mood or the perfect moment and start acting with intention. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it is harsh, restrictive, or joyless. In reality, discipline is an act of self-care. It is the practice of doing today what your future self will thank you for tomorrow. Every time you follow through on a small commitment, you strengthen your belief in yourself. And belief in yourself is what gives discipline its power. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to become disciplined. You only need to start small and stay consistent. Big changes rarely last, but small disciplines repeated daily create extraordinary results. Wake up a little earlier, read a few pages, move your body for a short time. These actions may seem insignificant, but they train your mind to obey your decisions instead of your emotions. Discipline also teaches you to think long-term. Comfort always offers immediate rewards, but it quietly steals your potential. Discipline asks a different question. What will this choice cost me in 5 years? When you learn to delay pleasure for progress, you gain control over your direction. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it. Motivation will rise and fall, but discipline remains steady. On the days you feel inspired, discipline keeps you moving forward. On the days you feel tired or discouraged, discipline carries you through. It is the bridge between knowledge and results, between dreams and reality. Without discipline, even the best ideas remain unused. Over time, discipline compounds. One disciplined habit strengthens another. A disciplined morning leads to a disciplined day, and disciplined days build a disciplined life. The process is quiet and often unnoticed, but its results are undeniable. Confidence grows, clarity improves, progress becomes visible. Discipline does not take away your freedom, it creates it. The more disciplined you become, the more control you gain over your time, your choices, and your future. Start where you are. Commit to small actions and remain consistent. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about becoming better, one decision at a time. Discipline begins with a decision, not with a personality trait, talent, or background. Many people believe that disciplined individuals are simply born that way, as if self-control were written into their DNA. This belief becomes an excuse. When you assume discipline is something you will either have or don't have, you give yourself permission to avoid responsibility. The truth is far more empowering. Discipline is learned, and it starts the moment you decide to take ownership of your actions. Every day presents choices. Most of them are small and seemingly unimportant, whether to get up when the alarm rings, whether to finish a task properly, whether to follow through on a promise made to yourself. Discipline is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in these quiet decisions. Each time you choose action over excuse, you strengthen your ability to choose again the next time. Over time, these choices shape your character. When discipline is viewed as a daily decision, you stop waiting for motivation or the right emotional state. Emotions are unreliable. They rise and fall based on sleep, stress, and circumstances. If your actions depend on how you feel, your progress will always be unstable. Discipline allows you to act based on values rather than feelings. You do the work because you decided it matters, not because you feel inspired in the moment. This understanding shifts your focus from results to responsibility. Instead of asking, do I feel like doing this? You begin asking, is this aligned with the life I want to build? That question brings clarity. It reminds you that every disciplined action is a vote for your future. You may not see immediate rewards, but you are laying bricks for something greater. Discipline as a decision also means it is available to everyone. You don't need perfect conditions, more time, or more confidence. You only need willingness. The smallest act of follow-through can begin the process. When you decide to keep one small promise today, You change how you see yourself. You begin to trust yourself. And self-trust makes the next decision easier. Life does not improve by accident. It improves when decisions improve. Discipline is the practice of making those better decisions consistently. It is not about being strict or punishing yourself. It is about directing your life with intention. When you realize that discipline is something you choose daily, you regain control. And with control comes progress, confidence, and the ability to create a life you respect. Discipline is strengthened every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small that promise may seem. Many people try to build discipline by setting large, ambitious goals, but they often overlook the most important factor, self-trust. Without self-trust, discipline collapses. When you repeatedly say you will do something and fail to follow through, you teach your mind that your own words carry little weight. Over time, this weakens confidence and makes discipline feel impossible. Small, consistent actions work differently. When you commit to something manageable and complete it, you send a powerful message to yourself. I can be relied upon. That message changes how you think, act, and decide. Discipline grows naturally from this foundation. You no longer have to force yourself as much because your mind begins to expect follow-through instead of excuses. Self-trust is built the same way trust is built with others, through consistency. You would not trust someone who constantly breaks promises, and your mind works the same way with you. If you say you will wake up earlier, exercise briefly, read a few pages, or finish a task, and then you do it, you strengthen the relationship you have with yourself. That relationship determines how disciplined you can become. This is why starting small is not a weakness, it is a strategy. Big promises often fail because they overwhelm the mind. Small commitments feel achievable, and achievable actions are repeatable. Repetition is what builds identity. Over time, you stop seeing yourself as someone who tries to be disciplined and start seeing yourself as someone who is disciplined. Identity always drives behavior. Consistency also removes the emotional drama from action. When habits are small and regular, they become automatic. You no longer debate whether or not to act. You simply act. Discipline becomes less about willpower and more about routine. And routines free mental energy for growth, creativity, and problem solving. As self-trust grows, so does your capacity for larger challenges. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. Discipline expands gradually, just like strength in a muscle. You don't lift the heaviest weight on the first day. You build up to it through steady effort. Ultimately, discipline is not built through intensity, but through reliability. When you consistently honor your own commitments, you create inner stability. That stability becomes confidence, and confidence fuels progress. Small actions done daily transform discipline from a struggle into a natural part of who you are. Discipline is the ability to choose what matters most over what feels good right now. Every day, life presents two paths, the path of comfort and the path of growth. Comfort is always available, always tempting, and always immediate. Growth, on the other hand, often asks for effort, patience, and sacrifice. Discipline is what allows you to make the right choice even when the easy choice is calling your name. Short-term comfort is never dangerous in small doses, but when it becomes a habit, it quietly shapes your future. Skipping effort today may feel harmless, but repeated enough times, it builds a life of stagnation. Discipline asks you to pause and think beyond the moment. It trains your mind to consider consequences, not just cravings. When you learn to delay pleasure, you gain control over your direction. Most people are not held back by lack of knowledge. They are held back by their daily choices. They know what they should do, but comfort wins the argument. Discipline changes that conversation. It reminds you that every action has a cost, whether immediate or delayed. The price of discipline is paid now in effort. The price of indiscipline is paid later in regret. Choosing long-term growth requires clarity. You must know what you want and why it matters. When your goals are vague, comfort will always overpower them. But when your purpose is clear, discipline becomes easier. You are no longer saying no to pleasure. You are saying yes to something greater. That shift transforms sacrifice into investment. Discipline also builds emotional strength. It teaches you that discomfort is temporary and survivable. Each time you act despite resistance, you prove to yourself that feelings do not control you. This creates resilience. You become less reactive and more intentional. Life stops pushing you around, and you begin to lead yourself with confidence. Over time, disciplined choices accumulate. One moment of choosing growth may not seem significant, but repeated daily, those moments shape your character. You begin to trust your ability to make hard choices. You become someone who finishes what they start and follows through when it matters. True freedom is not found in doing whatever feels good in the moment. It is found in having the discipline to build a life you don't need to escape from. When you consistently choose long-term growth over short-term comfort, you step into control, progress, and lasting fulfillment. Discipline works quietly, but its effects are powerful and lasting. Most people expect instant results, and when they don't see immediate change, they assume their efforts are pointless. In reality, discipline operates through compounding. Small, disciplined actions performed daily may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they create extraordinary outcomes. Just as a small investment grows through consistent contributions, discipline builds momentum through repetition. Each disciplined habit supports the next. When you organize your morning, you are more likely to manage your day well. When you manage your day well, you make better decisions. When decisions improve, life improves. Discipline is not a single act, it is a system. Once that system is in place, progress becomes more natural and less forced. As discipline compounds, something unexpected happens, life becomes easier. Many believe discipline makes life harder, but the opposite is true. A lack of discipline creates chaos, stress, and constant reaction. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain more of it. When you are disciplined with your finances, you gain options. When you are disciplined with your habits, you gain energy and clarity. Freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the ability to live according to your values. Discipline gives you that ability. It allows you to say no to distractions without feeling deprived, and yes to opportunities without hesitation. Over time, disciplined people experience less anxiety because their lives are predictable in the best way. They can rely on themselves. Confidence also grows as discipline compounds. Each completed task, each kept promise, reinforces your belief in your own capability. That belief changes how you carry yourself and how others perceive you. Discipline becomes part of your identity, not something you struggle with. You no longer ask if you can handle challenges. You trust that you will. The greatest reward of discipline is not success alone, it is self-mastery. When you can direct your actions instead of being controlled by impulses, you experience true independence. Discipline frees you from regret, excuses, and wasted potential. It quietly builds a life of stability, purpose, and fulfillment. In the end, discipline does not confine you, it expands you. Through consistent practice, it creates confidence, control, and freedom, the kind of freedom that allows you to live intentionally and with pride in the life you are building. Discipline reaches its highest value when it becomes a way of life rather than a temporary effort. At this stage, discipline is no longer something you struggle to apply. It is something you naturally live by. Many people quit too early because they see discipline as a phase, a burst of effort meant to fix everything quickly. True discipline is not seasonal. It is permanent, patient, and deeply connected to identity. When discipline becomes part of who you are, your behavior no longer depends on supervision, pressure, or external rewards. You act with integrity even when no one is watching. You do what needs to be done because it aligns with your standards. This is where real growth happens. External motivation may start the journey, but internal discipline sustains it. Living a disciplined life also sharpens your judgment. You become more aware of how you spend your time, energy, and attention. Instead of reacting to every distraction, you choose deliberately. You recognize that not every opportunity deserves a yes, and not every impulse deserves action. Discipline teaches you the power of restraint, and restraint protects your focus. As discipline deepens, your tolerance for excuses decreases. You stop negotiating with weakness and start honoring your commitments. This doesn't make you rigid or cold. It makes you dependable. Dependability builds self-respect, and self-respect fuels confidence. You begin to trust yourself under pressure because you've proven repeatedly that you can follow through. Discipline also creates emotional maturity. You stop blaming circumstances and start adjusting behavior. Instead of asking why things are hard, you ask how you can improve. This mindset transforms obstacles into teachers. Discipline doesn't remove difficulty from life, but it equips you to handle difficulty with calm and strength. Over time, a disciplined life produces clarity. You know what matters, and you act accordingly. You waste less energy on regret and more on progress. Your days feel purposeful because your actions align with your values. Discipline becomes the silent force guiding your decisions, protecting your future, and shaping your legacy. Ultimately, discipline is not about control for its own sake. It is about becoming the kind of person who can build, sustain, and enjoy a meaningful life. When discipline becomes your standard, success stops being accidental and starts being inevitable. Discipline is not a single decision or a short burst of effort. It is a lifelong practice built through daily choices. It begins with responsibility, grows through small, consistent actions, and strengthens when long-term growth is chosen over short-term comfort. As discipline compounds, it creates structure, clarity, and confidence, eventually becoming a natural part of who you are rather than something you struggle to maintain. When discipline becomes your standard, you stop relying on motivation and start relying on character. You act with intention, manage your time and energy wisely, and follow through on your commitments even when it is uncomfortable. This ability to direct yourself is the foundation of self-respect and personal freedom. In the end, discipline does more than help you achieve goals. It shapes your identity. It frees you from excuses, regret, and wasted potential, and replaces them with progress, stability, and purpose. A disciplined life is not restrictive. It is empowering. It allows you to build a time